I found a video of my girlfriend's cheating on whom we've been with for 8 years. Her family and the anti-cybercrime police are involved in this. And I'm in a stupor. After 8 years of relationship with a girl, I saw a video that ruined everything. I saw her betrayal, and not only that, her family and even the anti-cybercrime police intervened in the case. Now I'm in complete shock, not knowing what to do next and how to react to this situation. Almost 3 weeks ago, my good friend, Alex, and his acquaintance, Mike, found a video with my girlfriend, Jamie, where she fucks another guy. Mike found these records when he was sitting on porn sites with a niche theme, and he recognized Jamie. He contacted Alex about it, and they both told me about her cheating. When Alex and Mike told me about my girlfriend's infidelity, I seemed to be half numb and half shocked. I couldn't say anything until they showed me a video that made me sick. I couldn't stand it even for a minute. The fact that the video was cropped in such a way that the screen immediately moved into action and Jamie's face was clearly visible did not make the situation better at all. We took Mike home and Alex behaved very reasonably, forcing me to stay the night with him instead of returning to the apartment we shared with Jamie, which is still unclear how it could have ended. We drank some beer in the silence. Alex tried to ask me how I felt because of Jamie's infidelity, but I was stunfled. I didn't even know how I felt, and I told him about it. It felt like you were wandering on the water, not thinking about anything except what you see in front of you. Alex didn't pester me anymore, and after a while I forgot. When I woke up, enough common sense came back to me to realize our relationship was most likely over. I went straight home by public transport. I guess I looked thoughtful or angry. I wonder what other passengers thought about the guy who looked like shit who was trying to look like Batman. I came home and caught her just as she was about to leave. She asked me where I was and why I didn't call her. I didn't bother to give an answer and just said that we need to talk. We sat face to each other at the kitchen table, which we built from scratch on my grandfather's farm, and this random thought suddenly tore the dam. A lot of things happened, a lot of cruel words were said, a lot of reproaches and accusations. There are too many details to describe, but in fact, I immediately broke down and started crying and asking her how the fuck she could ruin our relationship we worked so hard on, and she was surprised and wanted an explanation. So I just let go of the bomb and showed her the video. She cried, begged for forgiveness, but I didn't hear anything. Even more tears and curses before I told her it was over. It happened, and she just fell silent. She slid down and closed her eyes, continuing to cry but without saying a word. My anger immediately passed, and I tried to understand what happened to her. I started talking with it, pushing it out, softly and not so much. It's useless. No answer, so I grabbed her, carried her to the room, and put her on her bed. Then I went back to the kitchen, called her parents, Alice and Julio. I told them to come because their daughter has a nervous breakdown. I didn't tell them anything else, except that they should see us and that what happened was not a phone conversation. I turned off my phone, went back to the kitchen, and started thinking what the hell had just happened. Her parents rushed into our house, demanding to explain what the fuck had happened. I didn't tell them about Jamie's infidelity, but I told her that she needs psychological help. She's on the bed now. She's acting like a commo, but otherwise everything is as usual. They couldn't get her out of this state, and in the end I had to explain myself. I showed them the video, and it hurt their hearts. I told them that we quarreled. I didn't hurt her, most likely. She just couldn't stand the stress and broke down. They decided to take Jamie to the mental hospital of her university. I decided not to go with them. The next day, Jamie finally woke up. She was stable and gave answers. There she also said that she did not give consent to shoot this video. Her parents decided to report to the police in the fight against cybercrime. They didn't reproach her for her mental state, but they were obviously ashamed and they weren't sure what to do, except for the psychologist's advice to give Jamie a rest and support her until they were sure that she would no longer break down, and then she was discharged home to her parents. She asked me if I really wanted to end our relationship. I said I wasn't sure they could be saved. 2 days later, Jamie's parents asked me to come to them for a conversation. I agreed and came the next day. Jamie's parents and her older sister were there. We went to the hall and settled down. They looked tired and sad, and I felt the same way. Jamie was the last topic of our conversation. At first, they were talking about me. Then they wanted my parents to be included in it. I felt as if they were showing disrespect because we were all adults here. Besides, I have a difficult relationship with my father, but I softened because I was already too tired and felt beside myself. After all, marriage has already been discussed before anyway. Finally, we started talking about Jamie. She stayed in her room, suffering and ashamed, but otherwise she was normal. She will stay with her parents while she needs to talk to the police. Her parents can stay with her in the hotel room. They understand that I need space. They applied to the anti-cybercrime department of our city. They live 1 to 2 hours away in the suburbs. I'm needed for the investigation. I explained that I didn't find the videos, but I'll try to attract Mike. They apologized for Jamie, but I told them that she should have apologized and that they should not babysit her. They agree, but begged me not to quarrel right now, as Jamie may have a relapse. They explained her psychologist's assessment. Spontaneous nervous breakdown, no mental illness in the history, presumably caused by accumulated stress from studying and acute stress reaction to our dispute. She needs a rest in a safe environment. The psychologist almost reported me to the police, but they convinced them not to do it, and he, not finding any physical injuries, gave up. The discussion turned to apologies, Alice's tears, and other noise. But they really wanted to take responsibility for everything. Investigation, Jamie's well-being, her education and finances, etc. I was kind of excluded from everything. 8 days later, Alice called me in the middle of the night and began to beg me to come to Jamie. Depressive episode, kitchen knife locked in the bathroom, screaming about me. The worst hour of my life. I'm almost sure that I almost died twice on the way to them and managed to be happy that my country is not developed enough to install road cameras. I met Alice and Jackie outside their house. They were waiting for me. Jamie was almost calming down, and Julio was in the room with her. They begged me to go to her, and seeing that the situation was bad, I rushed to her. She looked fucking terrible, as if she was drained of blood and didn't sleep for a while. She started crying as soon as she saw me and stretched out her hands to me. All the anger, fatigue, and anxiety melted, and I hugged her. She kept apologizing and begging me to stay. I calmed her down and hugged her tightly. She finally fell asleep, and I had time to think about what happened. My heart is breaking to see her like this. That's not how I imagined our future last Christmas. I lost my best friend and life partner. He was a man who helped me during my depression, even when my own family rejected me and forced me to keep diaries to help me on the path I was going through. How ironic that it is because of her that I can write in detail about her affair and how it affected me. She is not angry. She is beautiful, patient, and generally a wonderful person. Thinking about everything we've been through, about what we've done for each other, if I started listing this whole list, there would probably be twice as many words in my post. I love her and was ready to be with her all my life and overcome any difficulties that arise. And she ruined it all. I woke up to her and went to the kitchen for coffee. Jackie was there and told that Jamie had already had 2 such seizures, and this one was the worst. All of us, except Jamie, are discussing what to do. Alice is undergoing chemotherapy for breast cancer. Julio runs a business 20 minutes away. Jackie was started at work, and Jamie needs help. The situation sucks, and everyone is exhausted. Jamie needs therapy. I hinted at a psychiatric hospital, and because of this, my head was almost torn off, but no one can look after her around the clock. They asked me to endure the inevitable and try to help her. There were definitely some emotional manipulations, but they are in despair. Because of my obvious long-standing affection and my own respect and love for these people, I gave up. And that's where I fucked up. I went home, told Mike about the investigation. He agreed to talk to the police. I called Alex and explained all the shit that's going on. He warned me that it doesn't look like the right choice and maybe it would just be worth taking her to a mental hospital, and so I'm just hurting myself. I love this guy. I've already signed up for therapy, and Jamie will have another consultation in my city in 3 days. I just want to take a longer nap and distract myself from all this. TL. Doctor, an acquaintance contacted me through my close friend and showed me a video of my girlfriend's cheating, which he found on a porn site. I told her about it, and she had a nervous breakdown. She did not consent to the video shooting, and she reported it to the police. Her family, parents, and older sister cope with it. She is still emotionally depressed and needs me to cope with anxiety and depression. I want to end the relationship, but I still help her until I'm sure she won't do anything radical. So, more than 2 weeks have passed since my last post, when I was put in Panama. I'm not complaining. You guys were right. I really need to leave and start living my own life. A lot has really happened since then, but fortunately, for the most part, it's just boring, sad, and disappointing. I found myself a behavioral therapist, which I should have done a long time ago. I have various problems not related to this, most of which Jamie helped me cope with, but a professional really won't hurt. He asked me a lot of difficult, important questions that made me rethink the prospects of my life. It was a liberating experience. I finally talked about it with my family. For context, I'm not very close with my own parents, especially with my father. A ruined family and all that. I consider my aunts, my father's first sisters, who took care of me as a child, to be my real parents. So, if I mention my family in my post, I actually mean only my mothers. It turns out that they were more involved in my relationship than I thought. Jamie talked to them, she liked talking to them about me and our relationship. They also got closer thanks to it. She asked so many questions about me, what I like, food, hobbies, what my childhood was like. She asked them for advice in many situations. What to do when I start to get angry, how to kick me so that I start moving, all these cute things. About a year ago, when they noticed that I became more cheerful when they started talking about marriage, Jamie and my family started preparing. 3 of them have families, and at least 3 children each has, so in order to make our lives easier, they saved money that they spent on themselves, and everything they saved had to go to the wedding, to us and our future life. They even talked about wedding rings. To say that they were disappointed is to say nothing. Considering all the bullshit happening now, they decided to give me half of what they saved for the wedding to support me and also agreed to take me back, which is really a huge help. My biggest problem all this time was the source of income. I didn't have a job outside my city and still haven't, and my savings are scarce. Having arranged all this, I wrote a letter of resignation, terminated the lease agreement, and have to settle my affairs by the end of the month. I'm leaving forever. As for Jamie, I gradually distanced myself from what was happening to her and around her. I talked to her family, or rather, told them that I was leaving. He gave them information about psychiatric care and forced them to arrange for her meetings with a psychologist and everything else she needs. It was a sad event, actually. I know it doesn't look like the right thing to do, especially considering that Alice and Julio made me stay and take care of Jamie, but it's the first time for all of us. They raised 4 wonderful children, they have a great relationship, and they treated me even as their own, although they barely knew me. Jamie screwed up even more, and no one can expect that someone else will fix it with ease and grace instead of her. I mourned the loss of my family, which I could be proud of. What about the asshole who filmed her? I still haven't talked to her about it, but Mike and Jackie shared what she told the police and how the investigation is progressing. I still haven't talked to her about it, but Mike and Jackie shared what she told the police and how the investigation is progressing. According to her, it was a Korean citizen whom she met on social networks for an affair. She said that they fucked only once, but it was immediately proven that it was a lie. 2 different rooms were filmed on the video, and they were pressured to confess where it was in case the police could get something from CCTV cameras, social media messages, registration logs, witnesses, etc., which they did. In one hotel, there were still records from that day. In the second hotel, registration logs with names and dates, as well as their registration numbers. She didn't mention rape, blackmail, or drugs, only a slight intoxication, which, judging by the description, was evident in the video. Everything except the video was by mutual consent. If there was an opportunity to get compensation when we contacted a lawyer, he made us hopeless. The fact that this asshole is a Korean citizen currently in Korea has confused the legal waters. They can do nothing but contact the Korean authorities, collect as much evidence as possible, and wait. But the lawyer was not sure that something would work out. As far as they know, they have no evidence that this particular asshole installed the cameras, except that he stayed the night before, and the cameras obviously disappeared long ago. There are too many ways this asshole can use to delay or even win any lawsuit he will be involved in. Most likely, it will be expensive, long, and with very little exhaust. Therefore, they refused this option. The asshole came out of the water dry. Why did Jamie do that? I don't know. I didn't have the courage to ask her. Now, it doesn't really matter. I'm not as exhausted as I used to, and my mind has cleared up. I'm leaving forever no matter why she did it. I'll just leave without explaining anything, or maybe I'll leave her a letter thanking her for the wonderful time we spent together, for the love we had, and say goodbye for the end. I'm a little romantic. Nevertheless, I decided to deal with it as carefully as I could. I helped when it came to the worst, without blaming myself or her family, and not even putting pressure on Jamie for ruining everything. Not for Jamie's sake, but for my own perverted sense of self-satisfaction from the fact that I did everything that was expected of me, and even more. I'll leave with my back straight and my head held high. Oddly enough, in the end it showed me how lucky I am no matter what. Yes, the love of my life changed me and had the audacity to throw a tantrum because of it. My future looks a little gloomy. I found so much suppressed anxiety and anger from my shitty childhood. But I'm still doing great. I have a family that loves me, friends who cover my rear, and, despite its betrayal, brought up all the best in me, and with it, and wonderful memories. I have nothing to be ashamed of, and I can proudly say that I was a wonderful guy. I hope this will be my last update. If not, the next one will be much more boring and less long. I understand that you strive for simplicity and sincerity. Here is an addition to your story. ******** Over time, I realized that life is not only about what happened in the past, but also about what we create every day. I began to appreciate the simplest moments, morning coffee with friends, talking at parties, walking around the city. Every day brought me new opportunities to learn and grow. I became more open to people and their stories. He began to participate in local initiatives, helping those who found themselves in a difficult situation. It brought me satisfaction that cannot be described in words. I calmed down, realizing that I could do something meaningful. Despite the difficulties that came across on my way, I realized that trust is an important thing. I learned to forgive and let go of grievances. I even restored some relationships that I thought I had lost forever. This gave me hope and confidence that everything can change for the better. Every step I took became part of my journey, and although there were new challenges ahead, I felt ready for them. I knew that I had support with my family and friends, and it gave me the strength to move on. Finally, I decided not to look back anymore, but to focus on the future because that's where